Hello. I wanted to say one other thing before. Tarot is something else in my meaning. That if you're wondering if that person is coming back, it's not that I'm being cynical, and I'm not saying that they're not, and I'm not trying to take hope out of anyone's heart, but you have to think about it in the right way. Yeah, it was beautiful when it started, but how did it end? Was there a gateway? And then they choose to leave instead of stay. I'm telling you that God wants you to love yourself first. It's easy to be hard on yourself. It's easy to give up and go to something outside of yourself, like tarot. Somebody tell you what to do, how to live. You need to give up this ego, give up this, give up this that, and you're absolutely right. This is my give up of my ego. Stop wondering what God has planned for me. When one drops off, another begins. But until I put myself out there, until you put yourself out there, nothing else can happen. So the reality of things is I gotta stop depending on other people's opinions. If you sat there and read the cards as they came out, as other readers are sending them, you get the exact same cards most of the time. Where everybody says, "Oh, this is what this means. This is what this means." 2:44 on my clock. This is what this means. And honestly, if you read any one tarot card book, that's not what it meant in this direction and that direction. It means something else. That's some real tarot card readers out there. They tell you exactly what it is, but it's so far one in between that is so confusing. So a lot of the tarot listeners go listen to exactly what they want to hear. Exactly. 3:33 on my clock. Exactly what they want to hear. But what you want to hear and the reality are two different things. It's not depressing once you realize these things. The point is, God rules this. And when He's meant for you to have somebody, He will. But what is not meant for you will fall off like a wheel. Can't nobody, I don't care. Let's talk about like people who walk on logs for competition. Eventually you fall. The log can spin forward, it can spin backwards, right? The lumberjack competition. The log can spin forward, it can spin backwards. But at the end of the day, you'll fall off that wheel eventually. You have to choose a direction. Even cowboys, when they riding the bull for 8 seconds, eventually they have to choose a second to get off of that hayride of madness, even if it's out after the 8 seconds. What if we turn bull ride into 1 minute? They'd be like, oh Lord. Now it's an even bigger challenge. That's kind of the way that God works. 5:33 on my clock. Is that He sends you challenges one at a time. He doesn't intend for you to break yourself or break your back. He intends for you to understand your challenges. He intends for you to learn from that. So after 8 seconds, if you make it to 9 to 10 to 11 to 30, it's like working out. When you first working out, you're out of shape. You don't feel good about it. It's hard to want to do it again. But when you're consistent with it, all of a sudden, you can do a mile in under a minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever your mile is. But it didn't start there. You had to put effort into it, right? 6:44 on my clock. So all I got to say about it is put effort in yourself, because God didn't intend you to know the future, and He didn't intend me to know it either. 5:44. Even though I can't stop being a card reader, I can't give my opinion 7:07 on my clock to anyone else, because it's not one for you. Shuffle your own deck. That's the important part. You believe in it. 7:17. Shuffle your own deck. Do what these readers say. Sleep with it. Put it in the moonlight. Put it in the sun. Sage and Palo Santo it, so that the energies don't stay, so you don't keep receiving and repeating the same cards. But if you want, what you want will show up in the deck as your mind speaks to the deck. The deck's heart will receive. You can't change that, because how can you change something that you shuffled and cut and shuffled again and cut again and shuffled again? And your message is the same, which means you just haven't learned it yet. As soon as you learn it, I promise you those cards will change. And it'll take you until the next challenge. 1:18 on my clock. Because the challenge is to be stronger within self. It's not what you give to someone else. The challenge is to be strong within self. What does self want? Oh, let me be honest. I'm a lesbian. See my flag in the back? I don't play that. So my challenge is that people are going to think all kinds of things about me. So what? Who cares? 9 times out of 10, you mad because you can't get in my bed. So what I got to think? People going to say all things about me because I'm African American. And this, black, that. So what? Who cares? You mad because you can't live in my skin. Then people going to say everything about my tenacity and my attitude. So what? Who cares? You mad because you can't shine like I do. And then people going to go spread rumors about me, gossip about me, and do this and do that. So what? Who cares? You mad because you have to say something to get validation against me. You have to say something against me to get validation. I ain't really gotta say nothing about you. Honestly, say what you want. Ruin that reputation, I go somewhere else then. And I got about 80, 90 more people who's gonna love me. So what? And who cares? It sounds cocky, but at the end of the day, when you learn how to live like this, and eventually God's gonna put you in a position where you have to. You have to. When your mom and daddy die, you got them to lean on. When you move cities, state, countries, do you have anyone else to lean on? No. You have to lean on yourself to brand yourself, advertise yourself, and live for yourself. So why let somebody else take that from you? So what? Who cares? You're about one mouth in this whole country. Mom and daddy, 2 mouths in this whole country. Mom and daddy, sister, brother, 3 mouth, 4 mouths in this whole country. Can you stop me from being my magnanimous me, my magnetic me? When I leave somewhere, I promise you, I stained on your brain. So what? Who cares? And that's my point. That's why I don't need tarot. Because God, Christ Almighty, has given me everything I wanted. If anything, the only person that's been able to hinder me is myself. Self-confidence, self-love, self-loathing, depression, not understanding the lesson, keep having to repeat the same thing over and over again. So what? Who cares? I'm gonna do it again and again and again until I learn it. 12:33 on my clock, and I'm not trying to play with you or anyone else trying to get in the way of my God's learning. So what? Who cares? A true teacher, a true love, a true honor person. It's not about you. That's why they tell you find somebody that matches your tenacity. It's not that the so what, who cares is going to regenerate onto them. It's just that understand I'm my own person and you are too. But that's why I love you, because you get to be authentically you. And I like that about you, 1333. And I get to be authentically me. And I hope you like that about me. And I try to change me. I'm not trying to change you. I like exactly who you are. I love it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. So if you're not happy with self 1355 on my clock, so what? Who cares? As soon as you mess this up because you're so unhappy with yourself, I'll find someone else. So what? Who cares? God doesn't leave someone good alone for long. That's loving, kind, honest, genuine, is willing to do anything, and you trying to do them, so what? Who cares? It's not like you can stop them. Everything that they got, they work for. So how you think they ain't gonna work from the end of you to the beginning to something else? And this goes for your lover. This goes for yourself. How do you think you're not gonna work from the beginning to the ending to the beginning of something else? So what? Who cares? And those who stay like children, oh, you love, adore them, and treat them with everything that they have. Like husbands that marry you and stay with you for 40, 50 years. You treat them and love them, adore them like everything you have. But if they just a doorbell, so what? You got your bag, so what? Who cares? Make yourself relevant or get the hell out. Love yourself first. You worth everything. Everything. And the last didn't work. Start a brand new beginning. That means relying on nobody but your heart, mind, body, and soul. That's why they say sacral chakra. So what? Who cares? They say your heart chakra because you have not learned to forgive. Sacral chakra because you have not learned to forget and move on. Currently, because you have not learned to please your goddamn self. And not to mention the fact that before they came, I promise you was rubbing it out. Lord, 1633, God gave you the ability to do a lot by your dang on self. But when there's somebody that's meant to be there, you don't have to do it for your dang self. I promise you it'll be glorious and magnanimous. Learn your discernment when to depend on it and when not to. Somebody in and out, they always got their duffel bag packed, and it's been more than a month, 2 months, 3 months. I'm not saying that they supposed to just be living with you, but I'm supposed to show some kind of security, stability, endurement, staying power. 2, 3 months, 3 years, and they still was with the BS. So what? Who cares? Because trust me, God gave me at least one of them hands, if not two of them hands. If you sitting there, you ain't got no hands. Okay, I'm sorry about it. But shoot, rub on the north and rub on the south, and I promise you, you be all right with so what? Who cares? At the end of the day, I can still have the same experience thinking about you than the one that I had. Somebody willing to put into you, then you're ready for them. And that's all I can say. I'm done talking. I love y'all. Ace of Wands to Hierophant. And don't forget, you're God's blessing. You are a blessing to yourself. And that's it. Put yourself on a pedestal. No one else. And that's what I've learned from all these tarot card readings. Read them yourself. Watch them till the day you blind say I'm wrong. I promise you, it's not my mindset. It's yours.